I've been a Microsoft MVP for 11 years, which makes me one of the oldest, so one of the old guys. And I've also going to be back here in Las Vegas for the Visual Studio launch at the combined Visual Studio launch party and Dev Connections, which is going to be in March at the Bellagio. I can't remember. So if we just do look at Visual Studio, okay, Zoom is cool and it's pretty. Okay, we got that. Underneath that, what drives Visual Studio is actually something that you can use separately that's part of the core. It's in system.componentmodel.composition, something called the Managed Extensibility Framework. And that's something that allows you to do plugins on a grand scale is a way to think about it. Another way to think about it is somebody finally got a really good inversion of control model that it really works in spades. So it allows our applications to become more ecosystems in which many different individually simple parts interact to make a whole. Now, I know this is something we've been working on for years, for decades, and so it's not that the goals are really different, it's just the tool is so immensely better for accomplishing it that I think it's going to fundamentally change our architectures, and that the watershed moments in this release, so .NET 4, what .NET 4 will go down in history as, is not being a big release that we all recognize right now its importance, but two things that are in there that I think fundamentally will change how we program. And one of them is the Managed Extensibility Framework, which right now today is usable in either 2008 or 2010, in the box in 2010, at Codeplex/Math for 2008. Also available for Silverlight 3, in the box for Silverlight 4, etc. It's coming. It's going to be in everything. The other piece is actually Workflow 4.0, and I have kind of a lot of mixed feelings. I've said a lot about this, but the important thing, the thing that is, you know, MVPs are independent, and I'm very independent in my thinking, and I'm not afraid to say Workflow 4.0 is a 1.0 product. Because it's a 1.0 product, what that means is they rewrote it from the ground up. Everything in it is new. They kept the old, so don't panic if you've done stuff with the old, but the new is new. It's a 1.0 product, and we should treat it as one, and that means we need to be a little careful with it and keep our expectations reasonable on it. On the other hand, it looks like it's the underpinnings of a really great product. So it's kind of funny to say that I actually think part of the watershed moment is actually what's going to happen kind of in version 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of that product. That we are going to see workflow that's going to change because Ron Jacobs said process is prevalent. I like the word ubiquitous. So we're doing process anyway. We're already doing workflow. We're just working really hard at it. And what the new workflow does is it's simple enough. It's so dead simple and such a light model, especially compared to the old one, that we can actually start incorporating workflows into our applications very easily. And I don't think you need to be afraid of it because a lot of it is fairly simple. I just think you need to keep your expectations low on some feature sets, on some IDE issues, on some of those kinds of things because it's a 1.0 product. So MEF is the big one. I'm actually working on a book on that, very preliminary on that, hoping to get a book out. So I've got that, and I've got that project. I've got maybe writing another book on helping you to improve your visibility if you want to, and if you're interested in that, you might tell me that you really want me to write it because I'm still in planning stages on that. I've got I'm interested in workflow, stay interested in that. And for me, still staying in the core, I still do a lot of stuff for the core. There's system.reactive is awesome. Obviously the MEF, there's new data types, there's the new contracts. Data contracts is very cool. There's lots of little stuff, not so much anything defining the release in a big way, but lots of really good little stuff in there. So that's my take on where we're going with 2010.
That's great. So I know you're big into feedback. You mentioned that a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you contributed a lot to the recent product development?
Yes. There's different places that I have. There's been some really awesome spots that I could really make some contributions. I think made a big difference. The T4 is one spot on that. We have pre-processed templates, and Gail Jones over there was absolutely awesome. Listening to a lot of feedback from me and other people, getting that. So it's looking good. It's looking right. And there's that's kind of a new thing, and you can just look for pre-processed templates. The VB team, of course, I tell the VB team what I think on a pretty regular basis. That's a good thing. And the workflow team, I haven't had so much input on too because they had a big job ahead of them, and they kind of did what they thought they needed to do, and that's okay. I didn't have so much input there, but yeah, I tell people what I think if they ask me, and I think that it's people doing that, both people like me and anybody little people, big, I'm not big, but little, everybody giving Microsoft feedback on things like Connect is a really good thing to make the products better and move us forward.
Cool. Well, awesome. I appreciate you talking to me today.
Okay.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you down here again at the launch event.
Yeah, great. Okay. See you
Good
at the
stuff.
Bellagio.
Thanks.
Okay.